Hello, I'm Tanisha Sharp, and this is my husband,
Raymond Sharp.
and we're here to
Jump in.
So today we want to talk about how do you take I want to say your man, your spouse to the next level, but I want it from more of a male's perspective. I know we mentioned it in some of our other videos that we have to take take them to the next level, and but how do we do that? And I know what we do, but I don't know if everybody else knows what to do, or per se a woman knows what to do or how to take her man to the next level. So what would you say would be some things that a woman can do to take her man to the next level?
Listen.
Okay.
Listen. I think a lot of times men don't have the opportunity to really get everything out as far as what our needs are. Mm-hmm. We can begin to talk and say, hey, I need you, it would be nice if you can do this. And we don't get to the depth of why that's important, because women stop us on what we need them to do from the beginning, and they get defensive because it's like, and they're, to us, some of the defense mechanisms kick up for a woman, and she said, oh, so you don't think I'm doing enough. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna start, fellas, I'm here to help us. Mm-hmm. Not,
because we do that. We do that.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, I didn't even finish. Like, yes, you did. You said I need to do this. I'm like, no, I haven't even gotten to. That's nothing. That's the pie crust. I haven't. That's the icing on the cake. I haven't got to the cake yet. I'm trying to give you. I'm a context person. I like you to understand. Like, okay, look, we're gonna start here, and we can work through this process. And sometimes I got stopped at the beginning of the process, and then once you get kind of like questioned about the beginning of the process, like, man, she's not ready. I can't tell you anymore. So a lot of guys are suffering in silence because they never got an opportunity. And you think that beginning was the issue, and it has nothing to do with it. It's just a premise. So put yourself in a position where you can just listen, not get offended, and understand it's not a criticism. It's just adding context and adding a layer of understanding so you better understand and know how to help me.
Yeah, because what I had to learn that and get good at it. And I'm still working on it because what I realized is probably about 45 minutes. First of all, it's rare that they actually express and say as much as they're going to say in that moment. And the fact that they're actually saying it, we want to make sure that we really understand their heart. And we miss it because we jump on, whatever they're saying, the first beginning parts of what they say. But when you listen, you get to the actual true reason or the true meaning behind whatever it is that they're going through. It'll make sense. And how can you really take them to the next level if you don't fully understand? That makes sense. So being able to listen first.
Yeah, and understanding, and it's just for some help, some context to that as well, is that a lot of times we want peace. Mm-hmm. So men don't say everything that may be troubling them, or everything that's an issue, mm-hmm. or even how, their spouse may be contributing to that issue. Mm-hmm. So we may have a lot to say because we've been compiling this, and it's been piling up for a while. So now that I do have a chance to talk, I'm gonna let everything go because I can't hold this anymore. And I think the danger in that is that, not waiting till you're upset. If you're upset, men don't need to, if you're in an argument, don't try to pull it out of a man because it may come off even more rough. So understanding the right timing to say, hey, if you are concerned, say, hey, I want to sit, I want to listen, I want to hear everything that's going on with you and what I can help you, and what do you feel like is lacking right now that's preventing you from getting to the next level, and then just let them talk.
And then we may be in their way.
Sometimes, yes.
You're asking them and they're being honest. Like, we don't want them not to be honest, but that's a whole nother, Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, okay, so we could be in your way. So we want to know.
Not really in the way. It's like there could be certain things like
we can be doing differently, maybe.
Correct, okay. and that's different than being in the way, mm-hmm. so to speak. Mm-hmm. I'm speaking of terms of I would say be approachable, because there could be some things that it's not about me going to the next level. Me as a man, I want to take us to the next level, but because you may not be approachable, that's preventing me from even engaging into you, like coming to you to say, hey, babe, let's do this. Instead of being like, what you want? Like, it's like, no man wants to hear that. It's like, you talking to me like I'm a child. Like, I aggravate you. I annoy you. Just by the, hey, babe. And by the virtue of me asking you, just saying hey or just trying to approach you, I get some rigidness. It's like nobody wants to go through that. You don't want to go through that, so why would you do it to me? So with that being said, I think more women need to be more like welcoming, more inviting, more, willing to, understand that, every time he approaches you, it's not about sex. Because some women think, you just want, it's not that. It's we need to talk, or I need some help, or I need some guidance, or, I just need an ear. And you want to be the ear because you don't want him to find another ear.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. So that can help him be able to release his ideas, all the things that's on his mind, on his heart.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, you got any more questions?
Yeah. So let me see. Okay, we're taking you to the next level. I just want to make sure I'm getting, and that's another thing. You have to make sure you allow him to make sure he's done, and try not to cut him off. You know what I'm saying? Do your best not to just say anything. So I'm even practicing this on this video. So since we're done with that, so no, but it's very serious because sometimes they really they're not done. And it's like, something else might come up and then we've already moved on to something else. So, so take them to the next level. Our attitude. How does our attitude affect or what we, and this is kind of going into what you were talking about before, like our mood, and us being careful with our moods.
I mean, I'm not, okay, I want to be very careful what I'm about to say. The expectation is not for you to be perfect all the time. Like, because life is challenging at times. However, if a man comes to you and say, hey, we really need to talk, it's like, if it's not a good time, say it's not a good time.
Yeah. Okay.
Just really like, hey, if you're not in the headspace right now to be patient and to listen or to even consider, or if he's been getting on your nerves and, especially if he's been getting on your nerves, this is not your opportunity to go tit for tat. So
that's a good one.
If you haven't been communicating and he's coming to you to communicate, this is not your chance to unload on him. Unless, and I'm not saying unload, but some people do unload. Like, well, you this. It's like every time someone says, hey, can you work on this? This is what I need. And it's not always an opportunity for you, like, well, I need this. It's like, for a lot of men, we put all of our attention into our women. And when I come to you this one time, you can't make it about me. So it makes us feel like you're selfish. Yeah. When women do that. So that's another thing that needs to be, accounted for as well.
Just making sure we're not in a place of, we're not being selfish and not making everything about us. Yeah.
Especially if you got a man that really does, like, he really does well by you. If he goes out his way, or he's making an attempt. And I think some women, they get stuck in, he's trying, but it's not what I want. But they're not really seeing the level of effort. Or even like the effort is there, but it's still not like 100% the way you want it. And still like, well, until you get this right, I'm not going to do that. And so it's like cutting us off from what we need because you feel like my needs aren't being met, so yours aren't going to be met either. Yeah.
That kind of goes into almost the next thing I want to ask. Like, when we feel like, what can we do when we feel like, because sometimes a woman may feel like a man's not moving fast enough, or he's not, and some women go into manipulation and try to do things to manipulate, but that, I don't know if that works, taking a man to the next level. So what would you advise a woman who feels almost impatient with wanting him to, or, you want him to start this business, you want him to do certain things because you see it as a, you may see it in him, but he's just not ready. And what would you advise?
I would say two things. You need to give a man the same level of patience that you want. Because, again, I think women almost require men to be patient with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you like, oh, come on now, come on, get with it. Come on, get out there. It's like, give us time, and also too,
that's good.
Give us an opportunity to develop a plan. Like men, we're like we got a plan, we got a strategy. It's like, okay, that sounds good, but let me work on it. And, you know, we all work at different paces. And another thing is having a level of understanding. The level of understanding is what? The level of understanding is, you know, sometimes men need a motivation to go after something. Like, we're goal oriented. You know, we like to go out and conquer, but it's like, if we don't feel like that's something that we need to conquer, like, well, I'm gonna put time, energy, and effort into it. Sometimes it may not be a priority to us. There may be some other things that it's a priority to you, but for us, it may not be a priority. So it's like that same level of patience that you want from us, you have to be willing to give to us as well.
Okay. How do we motivate you? How can we motivate you?
I would say, you know, most men have never been encouraged. Okay. Most men have never been told what they're doing well. You're a man, you're supposed to do that. Am I doing it right though? So sometimes we don't know if we're doing something wrong or right. We're just out here doing stuff. But, you know, we're never encouraged. I'm not saying.
I can see that.
Yeah. So another thing is, again, patience is definitely important. And I would say making sure that, you know, the communication is very, very clear. Because sometimes women, they communicate, they kind of communicate in like in a dream. Like, you know, it would be nice, instead of saying, this is what I need. Okay. We will be direct and say, hey, I need this. But then it's a problem because we're saying, well, some women internalize it as an attack, and it's never an attack. We're just being direct. And, you know, we have to kind of like unlock the puzzle when we give you the keys to the puzzle, and it's still too much sometimes, because it's like, so you just figured it out for me already? Like, you want to have input on what I need versus just doing what I need. Or saying, you don't need that, you need this. I just told you what I need.
That's good.
Make sense? Okay.
So pretty much it lowers it. It's the morale. When I say it lowers your morale, your ability to kind of
it's actually
a drain.
Well, it's disappointing. Sometimes it's like when you feel like you have to have this. It's kind of like, you know, on social media, I see those videos where a guy is out with a girl, and it's like in his mind, he's like, okay, this guy walking up, I'll make sure she's on the inside. If something happens, I can get her to the safe place over here. And the girl walking around, la 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 la, beside him, not really paying attention to anything. A lot of men don't feel like we're being paid attention to. We feel like you have this responsibility to be on top of everything, to take responsibility for everything. And that's not a problem. But when I do have a need, that need goes completely ignored. So it takes something from us. I'm going to still do, but like the impact that it has on me, knowing that my wife is not paying attention to me, that she care enough to even ask me, are you okay? Do you have something going on? Or when I bring it to you, it's like swatted away, like, okay, you're bugging me, because it's not about you in that moment. Like, keep it about me. That's not what I want, or that's not what I want to do, or that's not what I'm thinking. But no, you don't need that. You need this.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you just ignore me, but I have to pay attention to you and cater to your needs. That's the expectation. And if I don't, I'm wrong. There's another man that would love a woman like you, right? That's what they say. Not saying you. I'm saying you, them. Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing. I'm saying
it's
you.
Only to help for those who are trying to figure this out.
These are things that I've seen. These are some things that my friends have struggled with. These are things in other relationships I've even struggled with. So and
this is what I've learned from a lot of my mistakes. You know, these are some of the mistakes that we both learned from. But we were quick to get it right. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like being quick to get it right, because you don't want to continue to bring him down. You know, I mean, I believe a man goes through so much already. And and it's like, I want to continue to add to his life, and I want him to be excited about coming home. I want him to know when he comes home, and I'm gonna be kind and have nice things to say. Even when he calls me, I'm gonna be excited to hear his voice. Because all day long there's other women that are excited to hear that. Not because not to do it because of that. It's because we should be excited to hear his voice. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I think that was very helpful. Any last remarks or anything that you feel like I didn't mention or I didn't ask? Because sometimes we don't ask the right questions, and I'm learning too, is like, I may miss something, and I'm not asking you know, because we think differently than you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Of course
And so
you do,
we sometimes ask the wrong questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned that in this marriage, what, 18, going on 18 years,
Mm-hmm.
whoop, whoop, that some questions, probably the first few questions that I ask are the wrong, or not even the questions that I need to be asking. So is there something that women don't know that we are not even asking, or we're not even, we're missing?
Mm-hmm.
Or did we kind of get everything?
Ask a man what he's struggling with. Ask him flat out, like, hey, look, I want to help you, but I need you to be honest with me about what you're struggling with.
Okay.
And it's a dangerous question. It's a loaded question because the answers can be all over the map.
Okay.
Because a man can tell a woman, I'm struggling with the thought of cheating on you.
Mm-hmm.
And most women will hear that and say, oh, so you want to cheat.
Yeah, and that's
not what he said.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with the thought.
Yes.
And say, okay, why are you thinking this way?
Mm-hmm.
And it may come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you ignore me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you don't consider me. I feel like I'm an afterthought. You know,
I'm just
not you.
People go watch the middle of this video and be like, oh, they got some stuff going on.
No, we're good.
No,
we're good.
This is stuff that I learned early on. But
Yeah.
But go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. But with that, is ask him, what are you struggling with?
Yeah.
Ask him, because every man is struggling with something. Some men are struggling with their identity in the sense of, I'm not where I thought I was. I'm not providing for my family on the level I want to. Like they're struggling with, like, am I doing? Some men, because some men now, they're raising families without the perspective of having a father, and they're struggling with that.
Yeah.
They need help. Some guys can't go to their boys and say, hey man, I need some help, man. This is a real issue. Women do it as well. Women have the same issue, but because women don't think there's nothing wrong with them a lot of times, nothing, it's like, oh, I'm good, I got it. Yeah. It's like some women won't say, I don't know how to correctly relate to my husband because my father wasn't in the house and I didn't see my parents together. They'll just say, oh, he's fine, he's straight, he ain't saying nothing. But some men don't say nothing because they're so beat down. They'll get their head ripped off if they do say something. And we much rather have peace. Understand, now another thing is, understanding a man silent doesn't mean he's good. Some men can't even go to their wives and tell them how they really feel. I ain't scared.
No, he's not.
I'm not scared.
He'll tell me.
Yeah. Like, hey, look, we need to talk.
You have to be ready to hear it, and you have to know that, first of all, you got to be secure in your relationship, in your marriage. Like, this man loves me. So even if he's trying to say something that I can do better in, it's out of love. And it's because this is what he needs from me. Mm-hmm. And if I'm committed to him and I'm saying I'm going to be his wife and I don't want him to be with nobody else, then at least I can kind of, I can consider what and work on those things that I need to work on. Because 9 times out of 10, we know, sometimes we know what we need to work on. It's like, they're just, since we don't work on it, they'll bring it up.
Or sometimes women know what they need to work on, but since he ain't saying nothing, he must be good. And it's like, no, we just don't want to deal with the after effects of telling the truth. And it's sad sometimes because it's like the worst thing. No, it's not the worst thing. The perception is from some men, the worst thing I can do in my relationship with my wife is be honest with her, because she's not mature enough to take it.
We're gonna be mature, ladies. We're gonna be mature. This year we're gonna be mature.
Yeah. Don't worry about being demure. Be mature.
Yeah, be mature. Because it's no need to be suffering. You both. I would never want to go through what a lot of these men are going through. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Look, can I share the story?
Yeah.
You know what story I'm talking about?
I don't know right now.
No, you do. You do.
Okay.
So this happened. This happened about maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
You about to know in a second. We were like, oh yeah. So I was telling my wife, hey babe, these are some of the challenges that men are having with women. And I'll say a lot of these men are having, their wives are the root of the issue. I said, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this. She's like, we don't do that. Da, 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 da. I said, babe, I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general, this is an issue. I promise you, like 2 days later, this is back with like my wife, when I had my real estate company, my wife went with me everywhere. I spent a lot of time with her, and I had to go meet one of one of my boys who was doing some business with me. And I said, man, how things going with your wife? And he was like, he looked at her, he was like, can I talk freely in front of her? And it's not gonna get back. I said, yeah, she ain't gonna say nothing. And he let loose. And I said, told you. Yeah. Then a day later, similar situation happened again. I think it happened like 5 or 6 times in like a week after I had that conversation with her. I said, I'm telling you, a lot of these men are hurting because of how their wives treat them, how their wives handle business, and how their wives are just in general. They have no concept of, I'm married to this man. It's like he's married to me, and they treat him like that. Yeah. And because of that, there's a few things that were discussed that I had to talk my boys through. Like, hey, man, you need to, like, why are you doing this? Because she, and it's like, it was certain things. I'm like, look, I'm not agreeing with your behavior, but I understand. But this is how you bounce back from that. And ladies, just as a word of advice, if you can just start working on some of these things. If it's not you, it's cool. But if it's one of your friends, identify it and use this as a tool to help.
Yeah, work on those things that you need to work on. Because nobody deserves to be tolerated. Nobody deserves to live in an environment, in a house that they don't feel like they can even say anything. That's not fair. Because we, some women feel we can say all we want, but they, it's like they're not allowed to say how they feel. And it isn't fair. And I don't want to be in a marriage like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to be in a marriage because I feel like I don't know if I would feel really married. Like, I just feel like he just be going through the motions, and I don't want a marriage like that.
Not at all. And just as a point of perspective, if you go back and look at like TV shows that have like a middle-aged dad, like, the one that comes to Married with Children, Al Bundy.
Oh, with Peg.
He's like, oh God, what does she want? It's like, so that's how a lot of men feel. That's why that show hit.
Wow.
So go back and watch some of the old shows with the Married with Children. Go back and watch some shows that had like an older dude that didn't do nothing but just sit in the chair and just look at the TV all day. Go back and watch those shows and watch how those men responded to those women. Not just that show. It's a lot of, if you go back and look at like when we was growing up in the 80s and 90s, and even up the late 70s, there was a lot of shows that showed like family sitcoms and how some of the men moved and how they behaved. And the dude would literally just sit in the chair, look at his TV, didn't want to be bothered with nothing because it's like, he's like, well, I'm going to say something. She don't listen to me, no way. They used to comment and say stuff like that all the time. And people would laugh, but at the same time, that's what he was really going through. In part, those shows hit because those characters were real.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's amazing the things you notice when you go back and watch them now that you're an adult. It's like, man. Yeah. It's sad. Yeah. But it's what happens.
But today you can hit the reset button.
Hit the reset button.
Hit the reset button. That has saved our marriage. We can hit the reset button every time we feel like we are stuck and we're both ready to make some really, really big changes and really, really work on ourselves and be better. So we hit the reset button and we start all over again. And we don't keep bringing back the past. We really move on because we figured out how to move forward in whatever it is that we've been challenged with. Mm-hmm. So if you feel like that's you and you feel like, oh my God, where do I go from here? Reset. Start fresh. Get with your spouse. Say, hey, look, I know what happened in the past. I know, whatever. I want to be a person that builds you up. I want to be that person that takes you to the next level. And I'm willing to change some things about me, work on me, be a better version, the best version of me, so I can encourage the best version of you. And, we can build something great. We can do some great things together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we can be happy together. Like, to me, I feel like that's true happiness, not just him pleasing me and buying me things and giving me everything that I want and it always being about me. Like, I'm not really happy like that. I'm happy. What I always say, I love it when you smile. Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy when he's happy. So I want to do things that put a smile on his face because that's what makes me really happy. Things don't really make me happy like that. Like, I love to see him excited to be around me, excited to be with me. And with that, I have to be pleasant to be around. Mm-hmm. It just makes sense.
And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I look forward to coming home. I really do. I really, really do. I love coming home to my family. I love being here, and you know, it's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
Yeah, and we want to be a blessing to our spouses. So I hope this video helped you. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. Let us know what your questions are, and we can maybe do another video to answer some questions.
And also to the fellas, to the men who watch this video, look, I'm an advocate. I'm here for you. Listen, inbox me if you have anything that you feel like needs to be addressed or some clarity brought to something. Let us know, and I'll address it. It's completely anonymous, but I got you.
That's what we're here for.
Yep.
We want to we don't want to just go to the next level, but we're here to get you to the next level too. So until next time, you got anything else?
I'm good.
Until next time, we want you to what?
Jump in.
See you guys later.
Y'all take care.
Bye.